Maybe I'll rock over in my chair. The cards are too heavy. So the Syracuse University's Transactional Record Access Clearinghouse, they've been around forever since I was a young lawyer. I remember them from the early 90s. They would always give statistics on what's going on in the immigration courts.
Okay.
Well, they've come out with their statistics for the immigration courts. Those are not immigration service. This is just immigration courts when you're in deportation and you have to go see a judge. Take a guess how many cases are in the immigration courts right now. They have reached a record number of 1.6 million people backlogged in the immigration courts, which is why we get our calls every day. I filed my adjustment. I'm all approved. I need to get my green card. What do I do?
Right.
And I say, well, you recalendar it with the judge, but I haven't heard anything. Give your best story to the judge. The judge, all these judges, they have on their dockets tens and tens of thousands of cases, each judge.
Right.
Each judge. Do you know what 1.6 million people equals?
Wow.
The city of Philadelphia. It's like the entire city of Philadelphia is backlogged at the immigration courts.
It's a lot.
Every human being who lives in Philadelphia, that's the equivalent of every human being who lives in Philadelphia, backlogged at the immigration courts. So Mimi Saknov, the president of the National Association of Immigration Judges, said that the immigration courts, this is for the Association of Immigration Judges, she represents the group that represents all of the immigration judges. There's such a group. They want to be independent. Independent from the President of the United States of America and the U.S. Justice Department, the Attorney General. The immigration court backlog can only be fixed by removing the immigration courts from the U.S. Department of Justice and creating an independent immigration court. She added the Department of Justice, in which the immigration courts live, has prioritized law enforcement functions over immigration courts. The result is bad management. The result is under budgeting. The result is a gigantic and growing case backlog. Not only that, but when you don't have an independent judiciary, guess what happens? It becomes political. So, for example, because the courts are under the Department of Justice, the Department of Justice is run by the U.S. Attorney. The U.S. Attorney is appointed by the President of the United States of America. Guess what happens every 4 years? All of the policies of the judges change. They have no independence. It's completely political. You get a president like Biden, guess what? There's now prosecutorial discretion. We're not going to deport people who really don't deserve to be deported, even though they may not be any relief from deportation. You get a president like Pumpkin. He was deporting everyone. He could care less.
Right.
I mean, even Alejandra Juarez, who we're going to be speaking to later in our show, who was married to a Marine, who this Marine protected the United States, went to war for the United States of America, never committed a criminal offense, had an immigration offense, but not a criminal offense. She didn't rob a bank. She wasn't selling drugs. Lived here for a majority of her life. 2 U.S. citizen children. Trump could care less. He deported her. The reason she's back is because Biden gave her humanitarian parole.
Right.
So all of this is political. And until the judges become independent, just like our federal and state judges are independent, mostly of politics. Some state judges get elected. So there is some political component in certain races for state judges and certain races for, like, your local, village judge. But certainly in federal court, judges are appointed by the president and then can never be swayed again. Unless they're going to be impeached for committing a crime, whatever the president feels a judge should rule, they could care less because the president has no sway over them. Federal judges is an independent judiciary. Makes America great. We don't have an independent judiciary in immigration. the independent judiciary it doesn't exist. It does not exist. Now, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, a House committee on the Judiciary Subcommittee on Immigration and Citizenship is going to hold a hearing titled "For the Rule of Law and Independent Immigration Court," and Mimi Saknov, who I just quoted, is going to be the witness who's testifying. From October to December, more than 140,000 cases backlogged. That doesn't mean that 140,000 people were put in removal. More than 140,000 people were put in removal. What that means is that they got 140,000 more cases than they disposed of. How? And by the way, where would justice be here anyway? If you have a judge who's responsible for pushing through tens and tens and tens, one judge, one courtroom, tens and tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of removal cases a year. Where is any thought process by that judge? Where is any sympathy or empathy by that judge for what anybody is going through?
Right.
Where does a judge actually have any ability to make a thorough, fair, and thoughtful decision? They can't. It is impossible. Makes the whole immigration system quite what's the word I'm looking for? Quite unfair.
Oh yes, for sure.
I was going to use a stronger word, but since I have to go sometimes
faulty.
But because we have to go sometimes before the judge, I don't want any judge watching being like, "I saw your boss say something about me."
We're friends, guys.
Yes. Well, it's not even impersonal, but it's just you couldn't possibly make a thoughtful decision where you sit down and say, "What's the right thing here?" All right, and you know what happens as a result? Too many mistakes.
Yeah.
Too many mistakes, too many people who get deported who shouldn't. Too many people who should be deported who get to stay. It's not a thoughtful process. Thanks for watching. For more Bradshaw Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.